Edgar Girtain is our new composer in residence. We're very thrilled to have him on board for this season and the next season. And he has the very lucky and incredible task of premiering a piece of music with Beethoven's Ninth Symphony. He's titling it The End of Humanism. The idea of the piece acts in a way as a foil to Beethoven's Ninth Symphony. While Beethoven started out with a symphony that would have shocked listeners, just this opening of something coming out of nothing, order from chaos, just these open fifths of A and an E. Edgar basically, I think, makes a piece that is way more digestible, way more melodic. In the middle of the piece, you have this marimba cadenza, just kind of out of nowhere. And I think what Edgar is trying to do as a piece that acts as a foil to Beethoven's Ninth Symphony is to sort of demonstrate how music and society has been deconstructed and little by little put it back together and then take it apart again in preparation for Beethoven's message. Edgar is doing this in a really cool way, and he professes to be taking these small kernels and motives and almost, in my opinion, putting them back together. So taking the premise that the 20th century, mankind kind of fell apart in many ways. And so composers now of the 21st century are reconstructing tonality in a way that is very historically oriented and comes right out of Romanticism. It's a very exciting time to be a composer, and we're very, very, very thrilled to be premiering this piece of music with Beethoven's Ninth Symphony. Beethoven was trying to, his entire life, deliver this message of brotherhood and fraternity and treating each other with respect and love on earth. And he found himself unsuccessful in doing that. So what did he do in the Ninth Symphony? He adds a chorus to explicitly say, this is my message. This is why I've been put on this earth.
Here is a kiss for all the world. Brothers. From the Ninth, well, specifically from Beethoven, but especially from the Ninth, music history takes a split. And on the one hand, you have the more conservative composers, Mendelssohn and Schumann and Brahms, and then on the other side, and interestingly enough, Schoenberg felt he was more on that side of the realm. But then from the other standpoint, there is Liszt and Wagner and that whole thing, and they all look back to Beethoven as the source. And I think it's this piece because it is so incredibly different from anything else. It was the first, first symphony to ever include the human voice, and without that, we wouldn't have Mahler, all of the Mahler symphonies that include voice. It's just such an iconic work.
And you think about the premiere when, first of all, orchestra musicians would sit out bars on end because they couldn't even come close to playing it. The chorus, this is, even today, this is still almost impossible for many choruses to sing and many orchestras to play. Yeah. And so you think this is one of the times during Beethoven's life where it probably actually worked to his advantage that he was deaf. He didn't have to hear this premiere.
And the difficulties aren't just extreme range or notes that move around a lot. But for me, musically, what's so hard about this is just the sheer schizophrenia once you get into the choral part. The schizophrenia of going from, marching along with the iconic tune to all of a sudden these fantasia-like episodes where the choir is asked in the space of 2 to 3 beats to go from forte to piano and back, or vice versa, and with incredible accents and word stresses that, I can't. There are very few pieces I can think of that make demands on the sheer musicianship and musical imagination of the chorus that this piece does. There's an apocryphal story, and it's in some of the biographies, but not in others. But supposedly one of the sopranos said to Beethoven, "I can't sing this; it's too high, and you've got to change it." And he said, "I won't change it. It's perfect. It is perfect, as God is perfect."
Yeah. And in Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, in the first three movements, you have a culmination of, I mean, everything that is in there. Of course it's novel, of course it's earth-shattering, and of course it riles you in every sense of the word. But the sheer electricity and excitement and manpower that you have to put into make all these crescendos work, all these forzandos come off. I mean, that's the thing about Beethoven, you can never just play it. I mean, every single musician on stage and singer has to do 200% bring 200% of who they are to make a successful performance, right?
Mm-hmm. Now, a lot of people think that the scherzo, putting the scherzo second was way out of this world, but Haydn was experimenting with movements and stuff like that. Of course, Haydn, Beethoven's teacher.
It's really cool that you mentioned that you noticed that, and that is a huge aspect of the symphony, as the second movement is a scherzo right away. So, and after Beethoven, after 1824, composers would do this, all the big name composers, and by doing it, they make a statement. Their statement is, this is no symphony. This has the purpose of, this is a spiritual entity. This is an organic being that I want everybody to be a part of, right?
Mahler, the symphony is an entire world.
And so after the first movement, this first movement is so just, this is fate. This isn't even fate. This is the Fifth Symphony times 10, right? Mm-hmm. There is no way I can give you a slow.
It's almost the creation of the world.
Yeah, there's no way I can give you this, this slow, this sort of lyrical. Right away, we have to lift your spirits up, right? And actually, that's the dun dun. Dun, 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 it outlines this D minor chord and the timpani playing the third, the minor third, which is in itself novel. But I think this third movement is a sense, the theme and the double variations is a sense of what it would be like to have so much love within you and never share it with anybody in the humanistic sense,
And it's a wonderful collaboration. The choir has really taken to you and your leadership, and so they're very much looking forward. We're looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to hearing what the orchestra does with this war horse of a piece, and I just wholeheartedly invite people to come. Certainly, if you've heard it, come hear it again, because everybody's got new nuances and new takes on it. And if you've never heard it, this is such a wonderful opportunity to hear a community orchestra and a community choir come together in community, in harmony, in brotherhood, sisterhood, and perform this massive work for mankind.